Welcome to the Space in Between podcast, a series where we will talk about everything and anything mental performance in a bite-sized fashion.
Sienna and Frida here. We are certified mental performance consultants from Ireland and Sweden. On this podcast, we share our knowledge and passion for all things sport and performance psychology. This includes all things mindset, exercise, sport, everyday life, and insights into how we help ourselves and others with developing our mindset.
Okay, another episode. What day is this one coming out? Right before New Year's. Remember, yeah.
This is the last podcast of the year.
Last podcast of the year, and it couldn't be more fitting that we are going to talk about going for it. More specifically, going for goals that might scare us and stepping beyond that comfort zone.
Why is it fitting this time of the year?
Because a lot of people are thinking about, 2026, the things they want to do. It's usually like a natural reset for most of us.
Yeah. It's a chance to start new things and work towards new things as well.
That we're leaving 2025 behind and we're stepping into 2026. And for most of us, we have that drive to do new things or going after things that we might have been thinking about. So it's a great opportunity to be talking about something like this for all of you that either are striving for something new or maybe that we are someone that's still chipping away at something that we're working towards. And I think with this topic specifically, I feel strongly about this one, about setting scary goals and going for it, because I think about all the times where I have been scared about doing something or doing something new. Those are usually the moments where I'm like, okay, this is right. This is what I should be doing. It's just my mind telling me, I don't know. But that means this is the right thing to do. Because like all of the things that I have done in life where I've been like, oh, I don't know, this seems really uncomfortable and scary. And then I have just done it. It's turned out to be fabulous. Fabulous. And those are also the goals that I think has shaped me the most probably as well.
I mean, they usually are the things that take the most courage, often lead to the biggest and best results.
Exactly. And I guess with this, a lot of time what happens is that we are thinking about doing something for a long time. We might be planning or thinking or dreaming. So then the question is, well, how can we have the courage to begin taking that first step?
And I think one of the hardest things sometimes with taking the first step is sometimes our goals mean showing up in a different way than what we usually have, either like for ourselves or showing up in a different way around other people. Like if we think of one of the maybe most common goals that people might set around this time of the year might be to do with their fitness, their health. And sometimes that will mean, okay, now I have to show up and be the person who gets up and goes to the gym in the morning, or the person who, makes the healthy choice when they're eating out with their friends. And it can be hard to show up in a different way. And that's why it can take a lot of courage to take those steps.
Yeah. Absolutely. And depending on the goal there, like we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but it's also that fear that can creep in of, well, what does that mean? What are other people going to think?
Yeah.
And that's something that we both have experienced loads with the dreams that we are chasing. So we still feel that pretty often, I'd say, that we have that fear, right? But I think the courage of starting and to taking that first step, it doesn't mean that the first step has to be this massive change, right? Think about the goal that you dream about or the goal that you want to achieve. What's a small thing you could do in the next 24 hours? Like an action that least resistance that can get the ball going. Because like momentum comes after we are taking those steps. By taking action, we create momentum and then we get that ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true that all it takes is one small action that you can take today. But at the same time, us as humans, we often naturally choose safety and want to feel safe. So that's why sometimes it can be so hard to even commit to it, be like, I am going to do this. And for some people, it can be hard to even like commit to a big goal in case it doesn't work out, Like, what if I say, yeah, I am going to do this, and then I don't achieve it? That can be difficult. And like psychologically, we want to protect ourselves from potential failure or something going wrong. And that's why it's important to make that shift from, have to take this big step or do something crazy to make a change to, okay, I can just do this one small thing today. And if I do this repeatedly over time, it's going to lead to a bigger change and lead to that growth that we want to see.
Definitely. And with what you were talking about there, what's important for us to realize is that our body and mind is designed to protect us. So when we are chasing things that are outside of our comfort zone, our mind, even if we're not in any type of fear at all, it's going to try to stop us because of the potential of fear or like failure or something happening, right? I think a really good example is before we decided to go all in on what we're doing, we had a lot of what if thoughts. I think one of the most recent things that I can think of in terms of us challenging ourselves and going outside of our comfort zone, I think back to, what is it, maybe 1 or 2 years ago? Is it 2 years ago now? When Sienna asked me, do you think I would like to start post more about handball and strength and conditioning with handball and sports psychology and handball. And I just said, go for it. And it still took you a little while before you actually decided to post that first post. And, you should probably talk a little bit more about why this was uncomfortable for you. But I just remember being like, yeah, do it. Come on, like, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably 2 years ago that I actually started, committed to it and started creating resources and creating content for handball and handball players and performance. But up until then, I had probably thought about it for I think I had this idea for a long time of something for handball, but I never really was like, this is what it could be. And then, I think anyone who works with any type of social media, like creating content, when we started posting about sports psychology for the space in between, oh my God, it used to take hours to create one video, and me and Frida would end up arguing because I just felt so uncomfortable about it. So it's scary to put yourself out there in that way. But I think something that I've gotten a lot better at is if this is something that you want to do, just do it. If this is something that is going to get you to where you want to be, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It doesn't matter and I don't know what people think either. So I'm sure most people think it's amazing and we're amazing and everything we do is amazing. But, you have that fear when you're trying to do something that it's people are just going to think it's stupid and nobody's going to even enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that mental shift from what if this doesn't go well to what if this is exactly the right path?
Absolutely. And that's the hard part, isn't it? To kind of break through those doubts and fears and going for it anyway. Something that can be helpful, and I think for myself with certain goals that I have chased and I'm still chasing, is why does this goal scare me? What is it about it that makes me feel uncomfortable about it, or that I don't want to do it, or all of these what if thoughts? What this fear can show us, and what I have realized, right, is that what I'm trying to do right now, pushing these boundaries, is because it matters deeply to me. This is something that I actually really want to do. And if I didn't care, I wouldn't have those thoughts, right? It's the same with when we are about to perform and we're thinking, well, what if I fail? What if I don't get the outcome that I want? What if I don't win? What if I look like a fool? All of those things. And it's because I care about what's about to happen and I want it to be successful.
Yeah. And I think going off of that, the idea of these kind of it's scary to take the step, but it's, these scary goals. And I think one of the reasons why they are scary is because we actually don't know, will I achieve that? Or is that even possible? But I think one of the coolest things about setting goals is it's not like you putting pen to paper with a goal means, yeah, this is binding, I have to achieve this. No, it's the growth is made on the journey towards the goal. That doesn't mean you reach that exact goal. Maybe that changes along the way, or the actions you're taking actually lead to something better. But either way, whether you reach the end goal or not, you're going to make progress by just putting your head down and going for it.
Yeah.
And something that I see a lot for myself, but also when working with other people and talking about goals, is often, we're not afraid to set a goal. Sometimes we're afraid to truly commit to pursuing that goal and go all in, because when we go all in on something, there's a higher risk of being disappointed and perhaps feeling like we failed. So it is really important to think about what do we see as success and failure? Because it's very easy to say success is that, if we just talk sport very simply, I set the goal last year of winning the All-Ireland Championship. So if we look at that black and white, if I were to win, I succeeded. I did lose, so then I could say I failed. But for me, that's not necessarily true. The way I think about it is I went all in, and to me something that's really important is giving it everything, preparing the best way I can, showing up knowing I'm proud of how I've prepared and who I am on the court. So for me, I feel I was successful even if I didn't achieve that outcome goal. And I think that's really helpful in going all in, so that it's not just black or white. Okay, I'm still proud of myself. Even if I don't reach this goal, I'm going to make myself proud with the actions I take.
Yeah, and this ties really nicely into what you said before. You talked about this specifically, about it's about the journey, not the outcome itself. So we can pursue something all in, and then at the end of the day, we might not achieve the outcome that we want. But like you said, the growth happens in the process of working towards that goal.
Yeah.
And the reality is that anybody that's ever been successful, regardless of what type of domain, like we're talking sport, business, etc., the reality is that the people that are successful are also the people that have failed the most likely.
Yeah. Probably because they set big, scary goals that are hard to achieve, which increases the chance that it doesn't go exactly how you planned.
Exactly. And something that I think can be helpful to ask ourselves in moments like these is, well, what's the worst that can happen? Take your goal and then write down all of the worst things that could happen if you don't achieve it, or if it doesn't go the way that you want. So then when you have that on paper, one, it's not just in your head, but also when we put it on paper, it usually loses its power a little bit, and we can maybe see more clearly. I think about, the fact that we went to Spain now for 3 months. That was really scary, I thought, to kind of go headfirst into this new adventure. And we have worked completely online with, the things that we love. And hopefully you've seen an increase in a lot of content that we have done. But I remember, I really wanted to do this, but I was so afraid of taking that leap 100%. But then thought about and wrote down all the things that could possibly go wrong. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I realized that all of these things can be fixed. So if it doesn't go the way that I want it to go, or that, Sienna wanted to go, we can always take a step back and it will be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I when I think about goals like that, it wasn't even a goal. Like when I think about when I was in studying teaching in the University of Limerick, and then I got this opportunity to go out to America and study sport and exercise psychology to do a master's, and like I had no intention, that wasn't on my radar until I literally got presented the opportunity. And like something that I said to myself, well, like, the worst thing that happens is I get a master's, I come back and I go teaching. Because, I can just do that instead of going straight into teaching and missing that opportunity. And like, obviously in that case, the worst case was not all that terrifying. So it was very easy to take that step. So for some people with their goals and the things they maybe want to adapt in their lives or work towards, maybe it is a little bit like the worst thing is a little bit scarier. But a lot of the time they are things that we can get around if that time does come, that we can, figure that out as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things with goals like these. I personally think that the thought of not trying at all is worse than trying and failing.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about, in sport especially. I always want to be the person who goes all in and maybe doesn't get the outcome, compared to people who are maybe have excuses to hold on to. The reason I didn't get the outcome is because of X, Y, and Z. I'd prefer to be able to say, yeah, I mean, I did everything I could and it just didn't go how I wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. And once again, going all in or something tees us up for heartbreak. But without that, we also don't get to feel the joy of being successful or succeeding in what we're trying to do.
Yeah. But if we were to think for a second to give something kind of practical for people, let's say we have a goal that we want to work towards. It's a little bit scary to take that step. What are some things that we can do to take that next step? And obviously everything we've been talking about is more like a mindset shift in a way, which is really what's going to serve you long term. But in terms of like some small practical things that we could do we have any of those that we can share, Frida?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So to give you 2 practical examples of things that will push you out of your comfort zone, you could say yes to something before you feel ready, or share a goal publicly. As soon as we share something publicly, all of a sudden it's out there. And now other people know, which can work in our favor.
Yeah. And that also doesn't mean that you have to go make a statement on social media or anything.
No.
You can like tell a friend, tell a couple of friends, tell a family member that you're doing this goal. Because how that works as well is they might then ask you in a couple of weeks, how's that going? So it's a little bit of accountability there. Obviously, for us, for example, we always post on social media. So I might share a goal publicly on social media for that extra bit of incentive. So like if people are up for that, then obviously that is very public,
Yeah.
posting it to the world that you're going to do this thing. But I also say with that, like, who doesn't love following someone's journey as they do the thing? Like, I think that's very cool. And I think the coolest ones are like when they're a million miles away from it at the start, and then even if it takes years, you see this person go from like being nowhere near their goal to like, doing the thing. Like I'm thinking of fitness examples, but like I think about one guy you were telling me about recently, like who goal was like to do an Ironman, but the first step was a lot of health focused goals, losing weight, and it was such a long process. But when I came on this guy's social media, he's this guy who's super fit, training all the time, running an Ironman. Whereas if you went all the way back to the start of his journey, it was like day one of losing 5 pounds, and those journeys are like incredible to watch unfold.
Yeah, it's very inspiring, isn't it?
I think, and I know we said we were sharing 2 things, but I can think of a third thing that's going to be super helpful in pursuing those goals and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. And Frida, you alluded to this at the start, seeing that fear or maybe even slightly anxious thoughts, seeing them as something positive that can actually help. Like perhaps the initial fear actually means this is the right way to go. If there's a little bit of resistance, like I am pushing my comfort zone and that's exactly what I want to do. So if we have those thoughts of, can I do this? This means that, okay, this is the path when there's a slight question mark. So using that as information that, okay, this is exactly what I should be doing.
Yeah, I love that. So fear is more information than stop, don't do any more of this. So just like you said there, what's important to remember that every time we're growing as people, we're pushing that comfort zone, and it's in the space in between comfort and courage that we grow.
Nice.
And just to finish up this podcast, we have 3 strategies that you can take with you today, tomorrow, into 2026. Do you want to wrap up those 3 strategies there, Sienna?
For sure. I can do that. All right. First strategy you're going to want to do is to visualize yourself breaking that barrier. So think, what does the version of me who's achieving this goal or living this life that I see, what do they look like? And even going deeper than that, like, what are they doing? How do they spend their days? What are the actions that I take every day when I'm already there? So we can actually see what that looks like, because we can also then learn from that. Okay, well, can I start any of these actions today? Maybe there's things I can already do. Then we can use if-then planning. So sadly, the journey to achieving your goal often is not a smooth one. And if-then planning can help us if we do have those thoughts like, what if this goes wrong? What if it doesn't work out? What if I can't do this? Let's say that your goal in 2026 is to completely change careers, something completely different. Maybe one of the thoughts that comes up is, what if people judge me? What if people tell me that I'm being silly? Well, if people judge me, then I will remember why I want to do this, why I'm doing this for myself. And obviously that is going to be specific for you. So I cannot tell you the answer to that one. And then for the third one, and we love to do this with athletes, but it can apply to any type of goal you have, is to take out a journal, one you already use to track everything you're doing, hopefully, and track all the actions you're taking to make progress, track the progress that you are making. And over time, what you will see with this is that you can use it next time that maybe we do feel we have a question mark over an action, a decision, are we doing the right thing? We can actually use this journal to remind us that, okay, these are the actions that once maybe felt scary and this is what they led to. So then we can decide off that what is the best decision to make in this instance.
Yeah, brilliant. So 3 very practical tools that you can bring with you right away. So to finish this podcast, I'm going to ask you a question, listeners. What would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? So our challenge to you is to name a scary goal and a small action that you can take this week, even if that is just telling someone about it.
You can write to us about it.
You can. DM us. We'd love to hear what are the things that you want to achieve. What's something you dream about? And maybe you're too scared to tell someone else. You can tell us. because we believe in you. Okay? And we'll be there to listen. All right? So I suppose that right there, DM us, is wrapping up our last podcast of 2026.
And as I've been saying to everyone, we'll see you next year.